Okay, picking up with slide number 23. Now we're going to talk about something called the key signature. And okay, so the key signature consists of one or more sharps or flats, not natural signs, they're just sharps or flats, written at the beginning of the staff. So as we can see here on slide number 23, there's a label pointing to the key signature, right? It's a sharp sign at the beginning of the staff. So notice with this particular key signature, that is this particular sharp sign located at the beginning of the staff, it's on a specific line. And it's on the fifth line, right, from the bottom. Remember how we count lines from the bottom, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? So it's on the fifth line. And ask yourself, if we were to just put a note on that fifth line, what note would it be? Keep in mind this is also a treble clef, so that should give you a clue. And after thinking about it, you should come to the conclusion that it's on, if we were to put a note on that line, it would be F, right? So for example, here's my key signature, but if I were to just put a note on that line, I would know this is F, so I know this is F sharp, right? So the key signature tells me that all of the Fs in whatever piece of music I would write here are supposed to be F sharps instead. So, in other words, I don't have to write a sharp sign to the left of this note that I wrote on my staff. I just automatically know it's supposed to be F sharp because this thing called the key signature tells me that piece of information. So, let's look at this little musical example here first on slide number 23. So notice that I have a little thing that, let's see, sounds like, what did I have right here? Let me turn that up a little bit, play that again. So in that, how many Fs do I have? I have what looks to be 3 Fs. And actually they're this F, right, at the lower octave. So this particular F is up here. This particular F is here where I was playing it, where it's written. And so all 3 of those Fs though, I play it as F sharp, right? I went E, E, F sharp, G, F sharp, G, F sharp, E, 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 B, E. So all of the Fs, even though in this musical example, they don't have an F sharp written, they don't have a sharp sign written right next to them, they're all supposed to be sharp because the key signature, right, gives me that information. So the key signature tells me a particular note is going to be sharp or flat. And also it doesn't matter what octave, right? If I see this for my key signature, that means all the Fs are sharp. And whether it's the one that it's written on, or if it's lower or higher or a lot lower, or really anywhere, right? All the Fs have to be sharp. So that's the rule of the key signature. So let's move on to slide 24 now. So a key signature makes the music easier to read, right? Because the symbols, the sharp signs or the flat signs, do not have to be written in front of each individual note, right? And so it just gives your mind less information to process when you're reading through a piece of music. All right, so let's move on now to slide 25. A little bit more about the key signature. So natural signs are used when the sharps or flats in the key signature are to be canceled, right? So let's look at this little musical example here of the Star Spangled Banner, or at least the part of it at the very beginning. Let's first look at the key signature, right? So we see for the key signature, again, where's the key signature located? It's located right at the beginning of the piece of music. And in this key signature, how many flats do I have? I have 2 flats for this key signature. And what specific notes are these flats? Or how about what specific lines are they on? Well, I see 1 flat on the 3rd line, and that tells me that all the B's are supposed to be flat. And then I see 1 flat on the 4th space, and that tells me all the E's are supposed to be flat. And so, if I'm looking at my piece of music and I see a natural sign somewhere, as I do on the 3rd full measure, that natural sign on an E note, by the way, means that I have to now, instead of playing an E flat, I have to play an E natural right there. So, hey, we'll play this little example here. So what do we have here? My B flat, right, because the key signature, and then by the dawn. So by the dawn's and now on Lee of early, that's my E natural, so I just have to play the white key there, right? Okay, so see if you can play that, and notice on Lee from early light here. On Lee, we have that natural sign, and so it cancels out the E flat. That means we don't play E flat, we play E natural right there. And one more thing about this here. So sharps, flats, or naturals that cancel notes in the key signature are called, they have a special name, and they're called accidentals. Okay, not on purposes, they're called accidentals. So keep that term in mind. That will be coming up on quizzes and exams and things. Okay, a little bit more about the key signature now. And we talked about this a little bit earlier, but this is an important point. A lot of people forget this or don't know it. So remember, it's important that you make this distinction. Sharps, flats, and naturals written within a measure apply to only 1 pitch and not 2 pitches of the same name in other octaves. Let's look at the example here, the musical example here I have on slide 26. And notice that my very first note, I have what? An F sharp. That's this note here. Now, here is another F note, but it's not going to be F sharp. It's going to be F natural, as it's indicated here. And that's because here's my sharp within 1 measure. It only applies to that particular octave, right, of F. It doesn't apply to this other octave of F. So if I'm going to play that, I've got F sharp here, and then I've got F natural up here, right? And then what do we have? All right. Now, however, where if I have the sharps and flats in a key signature, then those sharps or flats apply to all the notes of that letter name, regardless of octave, like I mentioned earlier. So, if we're looking at the bottom part of this little musical example, here we see that I have a key signature here, and it tells me that all the F's are sharp and all the C's are supposed to be sharp. And so, this I don't even have to put a sharp sign in front of this note here, right? Because my key signature tells me all the F's, no matter octave, are going to be sharp. So this will be F is sharp. this F is also sharp, right? And if I had any other Fs in any other octave, they would be sharp too. Okay, so that's how that key signature works, and then make sure you make that distinction between if a sharp or a flat is written, or natural is written in one measure versus if it's written in the key signature. What are you supposed to do with that? Okay, moving on to slide 27. Let's look at another example here. Let's look at an example of a part of the melody of Dona Nobis Pacem. So in this little example, I see, okay, what do I have for a key signature here? I have one flat sign. What line is that flat sign on? It's on the, exactly, it's on the third line. And so that tells me what notes are supposed to be flat here. It's supposed to be B flats, right? Because the third line of the treble clef is a B, and then if I put the flat sign on there, then it's B flat. So in this melody, all of the B's are supposed to be played as B flats, right? Not B's, but B flats. So notice also in the second measure, all other measures later when we look at the whole song, you must remember to play them as B flats. So let's play this little 4-measure excerpt of this melody. And what do we have here? Then B flat there. 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. All right, so see if you can play that or even sing it, but you have to make sure you play those B flats. So what do we have here? F, C, A, G, C, B flat, A, G, F, F, E. Okay. And then finally, to our last slide for this lecture, listen to Dona Nobis Pacem. I have a link here to a performance of that, and see if you can, after you listen to it, see if you can learn to play or sing it, right? If we look at page 246, on which this full melody is written, you should notice how many B flats does this song have. I count 8. So I think that's about right. 8 B flats. So try to see if you can read this and play them correctly on your first performance. If you can't do it on your first performance, that's okay. You can try it again. Also, playing along with the recording is excellent practice. So yeah, see if you can play that melody, and if you're feeling real crazy, you can try to also maybe play it with some chords that are written there, so like an F chord. Although we haven't really talked about chords yet. All right, but at least try to play the melody.